Your labs are normal. That sentence has ended more women's health conversations than anything else. And it's usually said right before the most important part is missed. Because normal doesn't mean your body's working. It means that your numbers fall inside of a reference range. And then we stop looking. What most women don't realize is that reference ranges are not the same thing as optimal. They're averages built from large populations, including people who feel great and people who feel terrible. So when your number lands in the middle, it doesn't mean your body's functioning well. It just means you're common. And common does not mean healthy, especially not for women in midlife. Most lab references ranges were not built around women. They were built primarily from data on white midlife men. And women are not small men, not women whose hormones are fluctuating, not women in their 40s, not women in their 50s, not women in their 60s. So when a woman is told her labs are normal, what they really mean is that she falls inside of a range that was never designed for her physiology. Those ranges were created to detect disease, not to explain symptoms, not to capture subtle dysfunction, and not to reflect how a female body responds to stress, sleep disruption, blood sugar swings, or hormone transitions, which means a woman can fall inside that range and still feel exhausted, inflamed, uncomfortable in her body. That doesn't mean nothing's wrong. It means the tool being used was never designed to ask the right questions. If your labs are normal, but your body feels stuck, inflamed, bloated, exhausted, or unpredictable, I created a short hormone signal guide that explains why this happens and what to do next. Comment guide and I'll send it to you. Now, here's where this starts to matter even more. Because labs measure levels, they do not measure response. You can have estrogen in your blood and still have a body that doesn't know how to use it. You can have thyroid hormone present and still feel sluggish, foggy, and swollen. You can even have cortisol show up on a test and still have a nervous system that feels completely overwhelmed. Your body doesn't respond to numbers, it responds to signals. Think about this. You can look at your phone and see that the battery is charged. But if there's no signal, nothing loads. The battery isn't the problem, the connection is. That's what's happening for many women in midlife. The hormones are often there, but the signals are distorted. And when the signal is distorted, the body adapts in protective ways. This is where a lot of women get confused. Because once they hear their labs are normal, they'll usually respond in one of two ways. Some stop asking questions. They assume this is just how aging feels. They lower expectations for their energy, their body, and their health. Others do the opposite. They start doing more. They eat less, they cut carbs, they fast longer, they push harder in workouts. And instead of improving, their body pushes back. Not because they're failing, but because the signal their body is receiving is stress. Let me ask you something. What did your doctor say when your labs came back normal? Were you told to eat less and move more? Or were you told everything looks fine? If you've heard any of these, you're not alone. And here's the part no one explains. In midlife, your body becomes more sensitive to stress signals. Not weaker, not broken, more sensitive. Hormone fluctuations change how stress is processed in the body. Cortisol becomes easier to trigger. Blood sugar becomes easier to destabilize. The gut becomes more reactive. Sleep becomes more fragile. Each of those raises inflammation, and inflammation changes how your body behaves. It changes how weight is held. It changes how energy feels. It changes how resilient you feel from day to day. This is why normal labs can exist along a body that feels swollen, tired, and unpredictable. Because labs don't measure how safe your body feels. They don't measure nervous system tone. They don't measure blood sugar volatility. And they don't measure inflammatory load. So when women are told everything is normal, but they feel worse than ever, they start blaming themselves. They think they're not disciplined enough. They think they're not tracking well enough. They think they're not trying hard enough. But effort is not the issue. Order is. When regulation is missing, doing more creates resistance. But when regulation improves, when the nervous system calms, when blood sugar stabilizes, when inflammation comes down, the body begins to respond, not through force, not through extremes, but through support. This is why this is not a hormone problem. It's a regulation problem. And once regulation is supported, labs start to make more sense. Symptoms soften, and your body starts to feel like yours again. If your labs are normal, but your body feels stuck, comment guide below and I'll send you my hormone signal guide, which will walk you through what to support first before you do more. And next, watch the video in this playlist where I explain why menopause weight gain is often inflammatory, not fat gain. Because once you understand that, everything you've been blaming yourself for starts to